America, we got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, welcome all. Hope you all had a good weekend. Welcome TikTok. I'm back on TikTok, live on TikTok. I was suspended for about 8 days from TikTok, and I still don't know why I was suspended from TikTok, but it's good TikTok to be back. I promised to watch my language. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was my language. I'll watch my language. But hope everybody had a good weekend, no matter where you are politically. In my continuing travels around the country, in this mission of mine to have face-to-face conversations with Americans all over the country, this week, we were in Northern Virginia, and I'm going to be talking to an expert. You'll see this week in Northern Virginia, talking to an expert about the threats this country faces, the threats at home and the threats abroad. And we'll get to that conversation. It was a fascinating conversation. We'll get to that in just a moment. But I want to start with the plane. The plane. What was that from? Fantasy Island, right, TikTok? The plane. Nothing to laugh about. Just a $400 million luxury jet that the country of Qatar wants to give as a present to Donald Trump. Yeah, you heard that right. Trump right now is in discussions, final discussions with Qatar to accept, thank you, Keith, for that, the Trump administration, TikTok, poised to accept the palace in the sky, a gift for Trump, a $400 million luxury jet that Trump will use as Air Force One for the rest of his term, and then the jet will be transferred to the Trump library when Trump is no longer president. Bottom line, a foreign country, a foreign government wants to give Donald Trump a big gift, a big present, a big plane. It's unconstitutional. Let's just start there. And let's try to talk about this, MAGA. Let's try to talk about this dispassionately. Can we? Here you've got Qatar, and we'll get into who Qatar is in a second. Qatar has a big gift, a big present for Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, like a little puppy dog, wants that big, beautiful plane. He wants that big, beautiful plane to be his Air Force One for the rest of his term. Let's just start at the basics here. This is unconstitutional. Quite literally unconstitutional. Our founders, the Constitution's very clear. The Constitution forbids our government officials from accepting gifts or anything of value from foreign governments, foreign countries, without congressional approval. Utterly unconstitutional. Whether it's a $400 picture of a plane or a $400 million plane. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Russia, China, our government officials, it's illegal. It's unconstitutional. Can't take gifts like that. Can't accept anything of value like that. In fact, our founders felt so strongly about this, about our government officials not ever taking anything of value from foreign governments, foreign countries, because our founders so worried about foreign influence over our government officials that this is the only ethics and conflicts rule that the founders put in the Constitution. It's the only one, forbidding our government officials from getting gifts and goodies from foreign governments. It's the only ethics and conflicts rule, language that our founders put into the Constitution, because our founders so feared foreign influence. Kind of complicated with Trump, right? Because Trump is the most openly corrupt government official this country's ever had. I mean, right now, as we speak, as everybody, this story broke yesterday about the plane TikTok, everybody getting, they're bent out of shape that Donald Trump wants to accept a $400 million plane as a present from Qatar, when right now, as we speak, Donald Trump is building a golf club in Qatar. He's building a big Trump resort in Qatar. So screw all of. We're miles down the road. Donald Trump doesn't give a damn. Donald Trump is openly flaunting corruption. Donald Trump, he thinks the American people are so stupid. Donald Trump thinks you are so stupid. Donald Trump, right? I mean, when it comes to his meme coins and his crypto and his resorts, I mean, Trump is heading to the Middle East this week to do what? To personally enrich himself, period. Donald Trump is heading to the Middle East to cut business deals with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, you name it. A couple other Middle East countries, all about enriching himself. So this notion of corruption, we're so far down that road with Trump. But can you imagine, MAGA, can you imagine the reaction if this was Hillary or Obama accepting as a gift a $400 million luxury plane from Qatar? I mean, can you imagine the coverage? You imagine what Sean Hannity would be saying. Forget about Fox News. Forget all of MAGA media would be going crazy if this were Hillary or Obama, but the mainstream media would as well. The New York Times, the Washington Post, everybody would be making a really big deal about this if this were Hillary or Obama. But with Trump, we all just the media just kind of shrugs their shoulders. This is who Trump is. Right? We've normalized. Here we go again. We've normalized Trump's corruption. Like something like this, if you would have woke up 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, and you read a headline that Barack Obama, while he was president, was going to accept a big, beautiful aeroplane from Qatar or Saudi Arabia, and Obama was going to fly in it. Obama was going to make that his Air Force One while he was president. And then when Obama left office, that plane was going to become his. Can you imagine? Like that? Oh my God, right? Unconstitutional, against the Constitution, foreign influence. Oh my God, Qatar is bribing Obama, or Qatar, Saudi Arabia, bribing Hillary. What are they getting back for this gift? On and on. It would be a huge scandal. But Trump, we've normalized him. We all just accept that Trump is one corrupt SOB. We've all accept that Donald Trump is openly corrupt and openly lawless. So we read this story yesterday, and there's outrage from people like me. There's plenty of outrage from people who still care about the Constitution, who still care about our rules and our laws, who still care about foreign influence on our president. But for most of the media, they mentioned it, but kind of yawned. Trump's supporters don't care. Trump's supporters don't care how corrupt Trump is. They love it. Trump's supporters don't care if Trump accepts a bribe from the government of Qatar. Trump supporters don't care about that. And the rest of America just kind of yawns and says, oh, that's Trump. It's like with Trump's lying. Oh, Trump lies all the time. That's just Trump. By the way, Qatar, who is Qatar? Like, this isn't France or the United Kingdom or Germany or Israel. This isn't one of our allies giving a big airplane to Trump. This is Qatar, the government of Qatar, the chief funder of Hamas. Do you remember that? Do you remember that, MAGA? Like, Qatar funds Hamas. So Donald Trump wants a big airplane, wants to accept a big gift from the chief funder of Hamas. By the way, Qatar has also been the chief funder, foreign funder of all of these pro-Palestinian protests on college campuses the past 19 months. Qatar's been funding them. Trump's just going to accept a gift from that country, friends with Iran, a chief funder of Al Jazeera. Man, Qatar's complicated. They fund our enemies. They have relationships with our enemies. Qatar funds radical Islamists. Qatar funds Islamist terrorism. One of the chief funders of Islamist terrorism. And here's the current president of the United States negotiating with, discussing getting a $400 million luxury plane from them because he wants to use it. He wants the airplane. He wants the gift. It's unconstitutional. It's a corrupt thing to do. It's a dangerous thing to do, to even think about doing. Take as a gift a plane from Qatar, not exactly our friend. It's a dangerous thing to do. Trump takes that plane, uses it as Air Force One. What did Qatar do to that plane? It's a security risk. Does any of this, MAGA, bother you on top of all of this? Donald Trump, Mr. Made in America. Donald Trump, Mr. America First. That guy desperately wants a plane from Qatar, made in Qatar. Oh, MAGA, the hypocrisy. The world economy, the world has been through 3 months of tariff hell, all because of Trump's stupid tariffs. And I guess Trump loves tariffs because Trump wants everything made in America. But that guy who wants everything made in America, he wants to fly in a plane made in Qatar. It's not funny. It's so sad. It's not funny. Again, just from the top, Donald Trump accepting a gift from the government of Qatar is utterly unconstitutional. As much, it's corrupt, it's lawless, It's dangerous. It's a security risk. And it's hypocritical because it's not made in America. All of that is so bad, so wrong. But what's even worse, Republicans won't say squat. Republicans won't say squat. And they haven't said squat. Forget about MAGA. Trump can do no wrong when it comes to MAGA. I'm talking about Republicans in Congress, Republicans in the House and the Senate. My God. If Obama or Hillary, right, here we go again. If Obama or Hillary did something like this, tried to do something like this, man, there'd be Republicans right now would be leading a congressional investigation. It's wrong. It's unconstitutional. It's outrageous. And every American should be speaking out against it. But every American won't. Sad. Hey, you know the drill. You know the deal with me. Part of what I do is speak out every day for the Constitution, speak out every day for the rule of law, for America, for decency, for honesty, for the truth. So I find myself every day speaking out against Trump, against Trumpism, against this Republican Party. But that's not all I do. You know what else I do. Every single week, as a siren goes by me outside, every single week I take off and I head out somewhere into this country to have face-to-face conversations with Americans. I do this because I think we're dangerously divided. We're way too divided. And if we stay this divided, I don't think our democracy can stay together. I believe the solution is face-to-face conversation, face-to-face conversations with people we disagree with people we agree with, face-to-face conversations across the divide on every issue, face-to-face conversations with Americans of all political perspectives. And that's what I've been doing for the past few months. We're having these conversations. We're filming these conversations so that everybody can watch and listen to and hopefully learn from these conversations. Last week, I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. This week, I'm going to show you the content I had with a regular guy, but with an expert in Northern Virginia. This week, I'm in Northern Virginia, sitting down. One of my favorite conversations I've ever had, by far, this week, with Brian Murphy. He's a former Marine, former FBI, former Homeland Security. Works now, Brian Murphy does, in the private sector. He does every single day, looking at, studying the threats this country faces. The threats we face right here at home from Americans, and the threats we face from abroad. And Brian Murphy, in our 45-minute, 55-minute conversation that we had, and we had the conversation in Northern Virginia. We were up in his office somewhere, looking out of a beautiful view. We were standing against a big old glass window, looking out at Washington, D.C., looking out at the Capitol Dome. It was a beautiful setting. And he and I sat there, stood there for 45, 50 minutes, talking about this country that we both love. Brian and I politically are different, but I wanted to pick his brain because he's an expert on this stuff, on the threats this country faces. a fascinating conversation. I want to remind everybody listening right now, what I do is this week, I'll show you brief clips from our conversation and encourage you to go to my Substack, social contract with joewalsh.substack.com. We post the lengthier versions of all the conversations. So you go to social contract with joewalsh.substack.com, go to Conversations with Joe or our archives, and you can hear the longer clips from this conversation. In fact, I think the entire 45 to 55-minute conversation is up there right now. Today, we address and answer this question. What's the biggest internal threat America faces? What's the biggest domestic threat this country faces? Again, I asked that question of Brian Murphy, former Marine, former FBI, former Homeland Security, now in the private sector, studying every day this very question. Today, what's the biggest internal threat we face? Keith, give that to me.
I think polarization is a thing that can undo this country. And the reason for that is we own it. And so it can be our undoing if we're not careful. And polarization is an existential threat to the United States because it starts pitting people that normally have agreed with each other on hard issues.
Yeah.
They start looking at each other as the enemy. No longer a disagreement, even a serious disagreement, but this is someone I need to do something about in a violent way. And that is, to me, can be the beginning of the end if we're not careful as a country.
You think we're at the point now where too many of us look at our political opponent as an enemy? I mean, as an enemy.
Yeah, I think, throughout history, there's been animosity in the political ranks, and that's part of the process. But when you start looking at the political adversary, in a good way, I mean adversary, as the other, that is this faceless person that you just want to destroy and quite frankly take out, or the populace looks at this person, if they get into office, the country's going to fall apart in a way that we haven't really seen in the last century or so. Yeah, I think that's a big problem. I think we're going down a bad road.
What got us here?
So I think the problem started about 40, 50 years ago in trust decline, which happened for a variety of reasons, not just one thing, trust decline in institutions.
Yeah.
I do think when social media came to the fore and really became ubiquitous the way it is today, I think that was the accelerant that kind of lit a fire that was already starting and really helped explode it.
I've said often publicly that I think we are like and I use this publicly, we are a nation at each other's throats politically. Do you believe that?
I do, yeah. I mean, being at each other's throats, right, I think I know what you mean, isn't necessarily the problem. It's the way that we look at this, right? What's the outcome if I lose? It's a zero-sum game. And I think that at each other's throats now is looked at in a kind of paradigm that we haven't seen since the Civil War, right? And we don't want to go back to that where you lose, like you've lost everything, right? It's like there's no compromise. You can't get behind the person that won the election. Even if you don't like them, we're still on the same team here.
Oh, I just loved that clip. And TikTok, I hope you heard that clip. I love this conversation. Brian Murphy's an expert in this area, but the way he communicates is like you or me. Like that was like Brian Murphy and I sitting at a bar talking about this country. But that question, the biggest internal threat we face as a nation, and Brian Murphy didn't hesitate. Polarization. The fact that we are right now a country at each other's throats. Polarization, the way he defined it, in that we look at the people we disagree with no longer just as our political adversary, but as our enemy. Someone we want to destroy, as the other. too many Americans look at the person we disagree with politically as the other, someone we want to take out. And hopefully you could tell from that little clip. Again, you can tell from the longer version of this conversation. And this is one of the most fascinating conversations I've had so far. Brian Murphy is not like a hair on fire kind of a guy. He's a very dispassionate guy. This is a guy who looks at threats every single day. So when he said to me that polarization, this division, hating the people we disagree with, looking at them as our enemy, when Brian Murphy said that that can and will be this country's undoing, man, that set my hair on fire, because I tend to be more, obviously the way I talk about this, I tend to be more, man, this is a real problem, a real issue. This road of hate that way too many Americans are on. But for a guy like him, a technical guy, a dispassionate guy, to say the same thing, I found to be chilling. He gets into what got us here. He calls it trust decline, right? The American people have lost trust in their institutions. With good reason. Brian acknowledged there's good reason. Truth decay, he called it. The disappearance of truth in our body politic, and then social media, like the accelerant, just lighting a fire to all of this. We talked a lot about how elections and election results have changed. We talked about in this conversation how now we're at a point in this country where way too many Americans, when the election doesn't go as they like, they believe like, oh my God, I've lost everything. And they can't get behind the side that won. Brian mentioned that this is increasing with election cycle after election cycle. Losing an election, your side loses. It's like the end of the world. Oh my God, I've lost everything. And he got into this really interesting point where we're at a scary place now in America. When our side loses, too many people feel like they've lost everything, and then too many people feel like they need to do something about the fact that their side lost. Violence, political violence. And so, as he called it, this dangerous stew of lack of truth, we've lost trust. Too many people believe in conspiracies. Social media spreads this all, right? It's like a toxic stew that in his mind is leading to violence. It's a fascinating conversation. The longer clip of this topic in particular, polarization, is about 10 to 12 minutes. Check it out. Go to socialcontractwithjoewalsh.substack.com. Look for Conversations with Joe or go into the archives. Please subscribe. You don't have to be a paid subscriber. Just please subscribe to my Substack. Easier access to all of this. But we'll have all of the content of my conversation with Brian Murphy up there this week. It was, look, I've been out every week. And I've been out every week talking to Americans from all over, of all viewpoints, of all levels of expertise. This was one of the most fascinating conversations I had, because it's a fair, objective, dispassionate look at how divided the country is right now. Coming from, not me, coming from an expert who is on the ground, in the trenches, every single day, studying where the American people are at, studying the threats, right? The threat levels that we face every day. Fascinating conversation. And it's this conversation is the conversation that we will be talking about all week. And I'll be showing you clips this week of this conversation with former Marine, former FBI, former Homeland Security dude, Brian Murphy. Final little topic I wanted to throw at you this Monday. I'm just going to give you the straight poop. Trump's tariffs. Where are we? You woke up this morning. Trump and China came to a big deal. Bullshit. What deal? So I need to figure this out. So Donald Trump, a couple months ago, launches a trade war on the world, on our friends, on every country in the world, literally. Liberation Day, sometime when was that? In April, Trump announces a trade war against the world. Part of that trade war was a trade war against China. And Trump started off, I think, with 45% tariffs against China, and then 60, and then 90, and then 120. Trump got up to 145% tariffs against China. And a funny thing started to happen. The boats, not the plane, the boats from China began to arrive in America. And those boats weren't even half full. And some of those boats, those ships were close to empty. So Trump was told, you got to end this. You got to end this trade war with China. So last night, they came to a deal. And those tariffs against China that Trump took up to 145%, he moved them down to 20%. And China, which responded to Trump's trade war, they ratcheted up their tariffs on American products up to 125% tariff on all American products. And supposedly they agreed for 90 days, like a 90-day pause, they'll lower them down to 30%. So what happened? And how is that winning? How is that a victory? So Trump puts 145% tariff on China. China responds and puts 125% tariff on America. Trump backs off. Trump caves, lowers that 145% tariff down to 30%. China lowers them down their tariff down to 20%. Still both way above where the tariffs were before Trump was even sworn in. How the hell is that any sort of victory? It's like Trump does this. Trump blows shit up. Trump creates a lot of damage. Trump does stupid things. Trump is told, Mr. President, you did a very stupid thing and the American people are being hurt. So then Trump says, Trump then is forced then to kind of walk back his stupid thing. Trump is forced to cave. And that's what he did here. And that's somehow some sort of a victory. Trump does a bad thing. The markets tank. The economy crashes. Trump takes back his bad thing. The markets rejoice. The economy breathes a sigh of relief. How's that a victory? How's that a good thing? We are in worse shape now economically than when Trump was sworn in. It's kind of like, buckle up, MAGA, buckle up. When you look at economically, what's the next 4 years going to look like? Here's what the next 4 years is going to look like economically. It's going to be an endless series of 90-day pauses. That's what this was with China last night, just a 90-day pause. The next 4 years economically in America are going to be an endless repeat of 90-day pauses on all the stupid shit Trump tries to do. That's what we're looking at for the next 90 days. That's what American businesses, big and small, are going to have to deal with. Trump does something stupid. Eventually, Trump is told it's stupid. Trump takes back the stupid thing he did. And Trump says, look at me. Look at me. Look how great I am. Victory. And then that cycle will repeat itself. By the way, all the great stuff that Trump said about tariffs, especially on China just last week, I guess he didn't mean them because he took all the tariffs away. No deal. No, who knows anything? Bottom line is this. It's so tragic that one man's idiocy and ignorance is causing so much uncertainty and so much economic pain. It's just wrong, right? And now I'm looking at my former colleagues in Congress who have the tariff authority that they gave to Trump, and they're looking the other way right now because my former Republicans and colleague are a cult. But buckle up, America, right? Buckle up. This is what you're looking at. We got a very stupid, ignorant idiot in the White House, and there are some smart people around him. And those smart people last night finally got to him and convinced him to cave and claim victory. Take back that stupid thing you did against China for 90 days. Take it back, Mr. President, and you can tell your supporters you achieved great victory. And that's what Trump did. Hey, thank you, everybody, for listening. Our week is off to a very, very good start. You want to shoot me, send me an email about anything, please do. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh at gmail.com. All one word, The Social Contract with Joe Walsh at gmail.com. Hey, invite me to your town, invite me to your city, invite me to your neighborhood. We'll have and film a face-to-face conversation in your neck of the woods. Last thing I want to put in front of you is this. Please go to oneflaginitiative.org. That's all one word, oneflaginitiative.org. Go to that website today. Sign up to join the No Kings movement. Buy your No Kings merch. I got a No Kings t-shirt and a No Kings ball cap. Buy your No Kings merchandise and join this growing group of Americans, all embracing this very simple principle that we do not have kings in America, no matter how much that mad idiot in the White House right now tries to be a king. Love you. Thanks for listening. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract